Chemistry, F. Biology, F. Calculus, F. My parents thought I was gonna be a complete failure. My professors all wrote me off, and I hated everything about the direction that I was headed. Fast forward to today, I'm 25 years old, and I've made millions and millions of dollars online, and not a single penny of it had anything to do with the periodic table or calculus. Today, I'm gonna tell you exactly what school never taught me about making money, and why the kid who couldn't memorize chemical formulas is now teaching other people how to build wealth online. And if you're watching this video feeling like you're not smart enough, not good enough, or like you're falling behind because of your grades, this one is for you. My name is Ibrahim Ansari, and this is the story of how failing changed my life. Let me paint you the picture. I'm at Michigan State University in their pre-med program, the Lyman Briggs College. Now, this is supposed to be the school for the smart kids, the kids who are gonna become doctors and surgeons, and I'm absolutely drowning. I remember sitting in my chemistry class, looking around at all these kids who just seemed like they got it. They're taking notes, nodding along, asking intelligent questions, and I'm just sitting there in the back of the class like, what language is this professor even speaking? It wasn't just that I was struggling, I was failing, like actually failing. F's all across the board. But here's the part that really messed with my head. I knew I wasn't actually stupid. I could have complex conversations about things I was actually interested in. I could solve problems when they mattered to me. But put a chemistry textbook in front of me and my brain just shut off. And the worst part, everyone around me, my parents, my professors, even I started to believe it. I thought that my grades were some kind of measurement of my intelligence, my potential, my worth as a human being. But then something happened that changed everything. So I'm sitting in my professor's office after failing my final exam. She's got my test right in front of her covered in red ink, and she's trying to be nice about it. She said, Ibrahim, you're going to have to retake this class. Your exam scores just aren't cutting it. And then she asked me something that no one has ever asked me before. Why do you want to be a doctor? I gave her the standard answer that everyone says, I just want to help people. But she keeps pushing me. No, why do you really want to be a doctor? Why do you want to pursue medicine? Why do you want to be in school for the next 10 years of your life? And that's when everything just came out. I said, honestly, my parents forced me to be here. They told me the only way I could be successful is if I pursued medicine. This professor looks me dead in the eye and said, Ibrahim, there are so many ways to help people and so many ways to be successful. You're clearly very intelligent, but if you applied yourself to something you're actually passionate about, you'd probably be extraordinary. That conversation maybe lasted 10 minutes, but it completely shattered this belief I had that academic success was the only path to a good life. That's when I realized that school wasn't teaching me how to think. It was teaching me how to memorize and regurgitate information that I'd probably never use again. Let me break down the fundamental disconnect between what school teaches you and what actually makes you money in the real world. School teaches you to follow instructions perfectly. Business teaches you to question everything and find better ways to do things. School teaches you that there's one right answer in the back of the textbook. Business teaches you that most problems don't have predetermined solutions. You have to figure it out. School teaches you to work alone and not help others because that's cheating. Business teaches you that collaboration and building relationships is literally how everything gets done. And fourth, here's the big one, school teaches you to memorize information. Business teaches you to solve real problems for real people with real money. You see, back when COVID hit, I saw a massive opportunity with marketing for PTs because I noticed that all these personal trainers were losing their jobs at the gyms they worked at. The thing is, I didn't need to know the molecular structure of proteins to help them get clients online. I just needed to understand human psychology, sales, marketing, and problem solving. Those skills, they didn't show up on any tests, but they made me millions and millions of dollars. The irony is that the things that made me fail in school, questioning authority, thinking differently, refusing to just accept what I was told, those are exactly the same traits that made me successful in business. So after I switched my major to business and started my agency, I had to unlearn a lot of the things that school had taught me about success. In school, I was taught that making mistakes was bad. But in business, I learned that mistakes are just expensive education. Every failure taught me something valuable. School taught me that I needed to know everything before I started. But in business, I learned that you figure it out as you go. I started my agency knowing basically nothing about digital marketing. I didn't know how to run Facebook ads. I learned it by doing it for clients and making mistakes on their budget. I didn't know how to sell. I learned by getting rejected on hundreds and hundreds of sales calls. And I didn't know how to manage a team. I learned by hiring the wrong people and having to fix it. But here's what school never taught me. The most valuable education doesn't come from textbooks. It comes from mentors who have actually done what you want to do. I spent thousands of dollars on courses and coaching from people who are making millions in business. That education paid for itself within months. Meanwhile, the average person is taking out a $100,000 loan to go to school for 4 years. That qualifies them to follow someone else's instructions for the rest of their life. Now, if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you'll realize that's not the path you want to take. So what are the actual skills that are going to make you money today? Let me break down what I wish someone taught me at 18. First, sales and persuasion. The ability to communicate value and convince people to take action. This skill alone is worth more than any degree you could get. Second, identifying problems and solving them. The rich got wealthy by solving problems that other people can't or won't solve. School teaches you how to solve problems that already have solutions. Third, understanding people and psychology. Business is just psychology at scale. If you understand what motivates people, what their fears and desires are, you can build products and services that they actually want to buy. And fourth, systems thinking. How to build processes that work without you having to be involved in every single detail. School teaches you to be good at tasks. Business teaches you to build systems. And fifth, financial literacy. How money actually works, how to invest it, how to make it grow. Ask yourself this question: did any of your classes teach you about compound interest, tax strategies, or asset allocation? Because mine sure didn't. These skills, sales, problem solving, psychology, systems, and financial literacy, these are what built my agency. These are what made me millions of dollars. And the crazy thing is not one of them was even mentioned in any of my classes. But here's the most important thing I learned. And this is what really separates successful people from everyone else. Your grades don't determine your potential. Your circumstances don't determine your potential. Your background does not determine your potential. The only thing that determines your potential is your willingness to learn, adapt, and keep going when things get tough. You see, school trains you to avoid failure at all costs, but in the real world, failure is just feedback. It's information that tells you what doesn't work so you can find out what does. When I failed those classes, I thought it meant I was stupid. But what it actually meant was that I was trying to succeed in a system that wasn't designed for how my brain works. And once I found out a system that rewarded creativity, problem solving, and real-world application instead of memorization and following instructions, I thrived. The same brain that couldn't memorize chemical formulas was able to build marketing systems that generated millions of dollars. Your brain isn't broken, the system is broken. So if you're watching this video and you're struggling in school, or you're feeling like you're not smart enough to be successful, here's what I want you to do. First, stop using your grades as a measure of your intelligence or potential. Your GPA is not your destiny. Second, start learning skills that actually matter in the real world. Take a sales course, learn about marketing, study successful people, and figure out what they do differently. Third, find problems that you can solve. Look around and notice what people are complaining about, what they're struggling with, what they wish was easier. That's where opportunities live. Fourth, start before you feel ready. You don't need to know everything before you begin. You just need to know enough to take that first step. And fifth, find mentors who have actually achieved what you want to achieve. Stop taking advice about success from people who haven't succeeded. Your education doesn't stop when you leave school. In fact, that's when your real education begins. Look, I'm not telling you to drop out of school. Education is important, but I am telling you that your grades don't define you. The kid who failed chemistry, bio, and calculus built a multi-million-dollar business, not despite those failures, but because of what those failures taught me about myself. They taught me that I don't fit into traditional boxes. They taught me that I need to create my own path. They taught me that the conventional definition of success just might not be right for me. And if you're someone who doesn't fit into traditional boxes either, that's not a bug, that's a feature. The world needs more people who think differently. The world needs people who question the status quo. The world needs people who are willing to fail at the small things so that they can succeed at the big things. So stop apologizing for not being good at memorizing information that you'll never use. Start focusing on building skills that will actually change your life. Because if you think about it, the graveyard is full of people with perfect GPAs who never took a risk. Don't be one of them. Now, if this resonated with you, drop a like and let me know in the comments what skill you're going to learn first. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.